What's up, guys? It's Tony from Streetball Strategies, where we use strategy to build your streetball legacy. Today we're talking about the basic gear you need to start your streetball journey. Alright, so one of the best things about basketball, especially playing out here at the park, is that you don't need a whole lot of gear. It's pretty basic stuff. But confession time. I told you guys last week about how I am trying to start training again and getting back into basketball shape after being retired for the last 9 years, so I can get back into playing competitive basketball coming in 2021. It's August of 2020 right now, and I'm going to be playing competitively a little bit in 2021 again. And so I have been out of the game, I've been out of competition for a long time, and when I was thinking about how I was going to get started again, I thought to myself, where do I start? My first thought was, well, I'm just gonna get out to the court, start moving around to see how it feels, and that was sort of my jumping off point when I was trying to plan how I was going to get started. But then I thought to myself, well, I don't even know if I have gear. I don't even know if I have basketball stuff to get out on the court and start playing. So I went through my stuff, and what I found out was that I was severely limited in what I had, but it's okay because I don't really need much, which is a good thing. So number one, let's start with the basketball, right? So first of all, this is my basketball backpack. Nothing fancy, super cheap, nothing special about it. It just holds my stuff. I don't need anything special in order to transport my stuff and keep my stuff organized. So let's start with the basketball, right? This is my basketball. It is really old, 10 years at least old. Now, keep in mind, it hasn't gotten much play over the last 9 years, and it's got all kinds of stuff on it. Anyway, it's kind of, it's flat. Yeah, so this is my ball. It's rubber. It's not leather. It's not anything official or whatever, but it's good for street basketball. I prefer rubber because of the grippiness you get out here on the court. Leather, it gets worn out really quickly. If it gets wet, it's super slippery. And so I stick with a rubber basketball. It's cheap, it works, and even composite leather basketballs, wear out super quick. They're way too expensive for concrete and asphalt, and they don't do good in wet weather. So this ball is very old, hasn't got much use as of late. We should probably air it up, which brings me to my next point in gear, which is you gotta have some kind of a pump right with you. You're gonna need to pump up your ball from time to time. Again, nothing special about this pump. It's probably the cheapest one I could find. At the time, this is probably at least 15 years old. So, carry a pump with me at all times. It rarely gets used, but you know, when you need one, you gotta have one. So I always keep one with me. And then I keep, you know, the little needle separate because, you know, you don't want to have it sitting on your pump. It's not a good idea. And so let's pump this ball up. Now, I prefer to have my basketball be as firm as I possibly can. You know, there is no rules out here. There are no regulations. I think, I don't know, what's the regulation for basketball weight? Is it like 28.5 ounces or something like that? If you're playing, you know, in some kind of a league or something, you have to have, you know, the ball is supposed to be inflated to a certain PSI or whatever it is. But out here at the park, you know, ain't no rules for that. So for me, I like the ball to be as hard as it possibly can be. I know people like to go to the other end of the spectrum and have their balls be nice and soft. That way, when they shoot, the ball has a better chance to fall into the rim because it's not as bouncy, you know. There's not as much rebounding potential when you shoot the ball, especially from distance. It's more likely that the softer the ball is, the more likely it's going to fall into the basket. But I don't like that. I don't want it to be easy. You know, I want it to be as difficult as I can make it within reason. So I like my ball to be nice and inflated. That way, when I make a shot, right, I know that I earned making that shot because I shot it well with skill. And it didn't fall in because it was a flat ball, right? And even, well, check this out. I mean, the ball's so old. I mean, it works, it bounces, it'll, you know, it'll do what I need it to do, but it's not great, and I can't really inflate it anymore. One of the things I noticed when I was going through my stuff, when I was gathering my old gear, which, you know, I don't have organized. You know, it's not like not a situation like a John Wick kind of situation where like the movie hero is coming out of retirement and he's got like all these, you know, he's got all his old tools organized together in some secret location that he's hidden everything. And then when he decides to come out of retirement, it's like, okay, well, just gather up all my old gear and get back to it. It's not like, that's not how it was for me. It was like everything's scattered and, you know, hasn't been used in such a long time, and it hasn't even been at the top of my mind for me to actually use it for such a long time. Everything was scattered, and it was like, I kind of don't even remember what I need. So, something I noticed when I was gathering all my stuff was, yeah, it's old, and it's, probably, there's a possibility that some stuff's gonna need to be replaced, which is inconvenient because I'm not going to be making a lot of use of it over time. It's only for sort of the, you know, spring and summer of 2021, and then it's going to be pretty much retired again. And so I don't want to spend money replacing stuff that's not going to be used very much. So I may need a new ball. I hope not. I'll give it a try and see how it goes. You know, the grip and everything on this is not too bad. It's usable, not great. So once I give it a try, I'll have to make a determination from then. So we got the ball, we got the pump, we got the backpack. What else? Let's put some stuff back in here. Oh yeah. So, also, of course, I brought my Yeti with my water. Gonna need that. I talked about that before. I always bring an umbrella with me. I keep it in here just in case. Live in Michigan. Weather's crazy. You never know when it's gonna rain. Don't want to get rained on if you don't have to. Umbrella's always a good idea. And what else? What else do I have? Let's see. It's 2020, so I gotta have a little bit of hand sanitizer. I didn't start carrying this until this year, but it's always a good thing to have. So, hand sanitizer, I guess. What else? What else? What is in here? Oh, yeah. Well, for me, this is something I always kept this in here for a long time, and I always forget that it's in here. But it's a spare pair of glasses for me. They're old and used and worn out and stuff like that. But just in case something happens, I can't play without my glasses, so keep a spare with me. That's actually kind of smart. I'm actually kind of impressed at myself that I would do that. I keep trash bags. No specific use for these or plan for these. It's just that if I ever need to carry something else, I have something else to carry stuff in. Also, if it's raining, if it's wet, if it's snowy, whatever, and I'm trying to keep stuff dry, I can just wrap them in these trash bags. Other than that, there's no specific, plan or use for them. Anything else in here? No, not really. So in terms of backpack stuff, that's pretty much it. Other than that, something else I noticed in terms of gear and it being sort of old and possibly needing to be replaced are my basketball shoes. These are actually these shoes are at least 10 years old. They're a pair of Reeboks. Back in the day when I bought these, their intention was like, these are my special basketball shoes. They will be shoes that I wear for special basketball occasions like tournaments or whatever days I specify in my head as being a special basketball day. And I had regular sort of everyday basketball shoes as well that I played in 95% of the time. Those regular everyday basketball shoes have long since been retired and thrown away. I ran those shoes into the ground, and then because I rarely ever used these shoes, I still had these, but these are now all I have. I really like them. I like the way they look. I like the way they feel. Let's see, the texture on the bottom, I mean, it's not great, but they also don't have a lot of wear and tear on them, so that's a good thing. They're kind of, the soles are great. The material on the top are, it's a weird kind of like, faux leather deal, shiny stuff thing. It doesn't, it's not in great condition. I think it's usable for the next year. And if I have to buy a new pair of basketball shoes, my wife is going to kick my... So I hope I don't have to do that. I hope I don't need new shoes. I don't think I will. I think I can make these work for the next 12 months. Oh, and the hat. Let's see. The hat. You're probably wondering about why the hat is so old and worn out and why I don't have a better one. It's because I'm kind of old school and I'm not really superstitious, but this hat is 20 years old. It has to be. It's probably about 20 years old. I just always thought of this in my mind as my basketball hat, and so when I think of gear, one of my first thoughts is my hat. Right? For me, it's just sort of something I have, something I use. I've talked about the hat before. I've made a reference to it before about how I when I play, I wear it backwards, and then I use the bill of the hat as a placeholder for when I shoot my jumper. Right? So I bring my wrist down to my forehead, and I kind of line it up with the bill of the cap, or the, you know, the snapback. I line it up so that I know I have my wrist in the right position that I want it to be in, and then I use that as a placeholder. Then I have, like, you know, I have this headband thing for, you know, potential sweat and keeping sweat out of my eyes, as I've mentioned in other videos. Playing in the extreme heat. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But other than that, that's my basketball gear. I mean, you don't really need anything more than that basic kind of stuff. If you're getting started, the great thing is you don't need much, right? You just need, first you need shoes, a ball, and a basket. If you have that, then you have pretty much all you need. You don't need anything else. You don't need anything fancy. You certainly don't need any kind of fancy clothes or shoes or anything like that. You just need a ball, a basket, and some usable shoes, and hit the court and just start going at it. It's one of those things where, like, you just gotta get started. You don't want to put off trying to get on the court and practicing and building your game because you don't have the right shoes or you don't have the right ball. I mean, you just start where you are, start with what you have, and then as time goes on, you build on to your gear and you get better gear, and then, you know, you'll compensate for your own preferences as you build your game and learn what it is you like and what you prefer. But the main thing is that you get the very basics, the ball, the shoes, find a court, and you just start practicing. So that's what I got for you guys for this week. I know it's kind of a different video, you know, not an average kind of routine video that I usually kind of make, but I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified of all the future videos. Speaking of future videos, next week we're probably going to talk about what it's like to sort of get on the court for the first time. So for me, it's going to be about what it's like to get back on the court and really start to evaluate myself and what I'm capable of after all this time. But for players who are just getting started, you can watch that video and use it as what you can do to start evaluating yourself on the court for the first time. So if it's your first time getting on the court, starting to play Streetball, it's a good video for you. It's going to be a good video for me in terms of how to evaluate yourself, how to figure out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and then how to go about employing them to building your game. Because essentially I'm starting over again too. So if I'm starting over again and you're starting from the beginning, then we might as well do it together, figure out how to build a game together, and then we'll go through that process together. So until then, I'll see you guys next week. Play hard, play smart, all that stuff. See you guys then. I can't lie, it does feel good to be lacing up the sneaks again. Let's do this.